this fact of existence of soul. It's basically about, it's very narrow-mindedness. Because even if we are a student of science, even if we want to understand things, the right way is that we should take things very broadly. We should always be ready to understand, to learn new things, at least to logically think about things. But generally, the scientists blindly say no. If in case they somehow they're trying to say that just because science cannot prove something, it does not exist. But it's a very narrow thought, because over the time we are seeing that science also evolves, and that itself is a logical proof that science cannot tell everything. That does not mean that it's not existing. Or sometimes we take it another way, that if science cannot prove existence of God, science cannot prove non-existence of God also. Both the things are together. So just because science is telling something or not able to tell something does not mean it's not existing. So we'll learn more about it as to uh, how that the way we gain knowledge, what are the imperfect ways. Generally, the way we use to gain knowledge, the way itself has defects, and that's why the conclusion which comes is not that proper. So let's see what are different ways to do that and what scriptures talk about it. Okay. So today we are going to see discover the manual of life. Truth beyond not facts but defects. Okay. So everything comes with a manual. If you see any mobile, any gadget, anything which we find in this world comes with a manual, and that itself is a proof that we cannot know everything. Somebody else has prepared it. Let us know from him. We can save our time. If we just enter into something, everything I want to prove, our life is not enough. You can see this Jagdish Chandra Basu, and 50 years he did research and find out what plants have life. But scriptures are already telling, and they're telling the symptoms of life. It's not that everything has to be proven by a, a experiment. No, we have to use logic also to understand things. If something is showing the symptoms of life, from that we can deduce that it has life. And we read it in first session when we were talking about soul. We saw that the symptoms of life is 6 symptoms. We saw that a person take birth, then grows, then reach adulthood, then there is a old age, dwindling, and death. So these are symptoms of life, and symptoms of life are there in plants also. You can see they grow, they come from a seed or small sapling, they grow, then they also become old. The way of showing that aging is different in every species, but they do grow old, they die, dwindle and die. So that is a sign of life. But for that, if you have to prove that and spend 50 years of life on something which is already logically there, plus already there in scripture, if you just follow that, it's done. Similarly, embryology, Srimad Bhagavatam is a scripture which writes about embryology, at how many days, how the embryo is, when a sperm and an ovum meets and a small life enters into the womb of the mother. It says that initially it's the size of a pea, mutter, peas. After that, after a few months, it becomes the size of a a tomato or a orange, it's a lemon. So then it becomes bigger, and then it gets then the wounds start becoming smaller for him. So he start feeling difficulty, start kicking the mother, which we say as quickening in medical terms. It starts at 4th or 5th month. After that, again the demands of the body increases, and slowly, you know, so these are all proven facts. It's all there. We just have to look towards it. And it's all perfect knowledge. Science sometimes prove it, and then we say perfect. Science doesn't prove, we don't believe. But no, over the time we are seeing that the modern science is evolving. But these truths are always there. Astrology, Vastu, Vedas, Ayurveda, it's all there. It's just that we need to learn it properly without bias. A lot of times we are biased. The people who go into these also biased, especially Ayurveda, because it doesn't look so lucrative to them like modern medicine. They're biased while studying it, and that's why they don't study it properly. If it's not studied properly, any medicine, any science will have a problem. But if studied properly, it gives a wholesome picture of the whole body. Similarly, cow products, cow dung, now the researches are coming more and more that if you put anti-cancer oncogenic medicines in cow urine, you will find that the dose requirement reduces because the potency of the medicine has increased. Many pharmacy students have done research and published the papers. So these are all facts. It's just that uh, we need to learn, we need to at least, we need to know how and what is the way of gaining knowledge from the sources. So we are going to discuss this more today. So we'll be dividing into our talk today into 5 main topics. Initially, we'll talk about a story, then the ways of gaining knowledge, the defects of which can lead to imperfect knowledge, scientific researches, what is it to offer to us, how to take it in a right direction, and then how Vedas offer the right perfect knowledge to us. This is a story of six blind men. Okay, and then there was one wise man. The six blind men came near an elephant, and they're all trying to tell what an elephant is. Now, elephant is not a wild one here, it's a calm elephant. So they're all trying to speculate from whatever they can perceive. So if you see one person is holding the ivory or the horns of elephant. Another person is holding the trunk. Another person is somehow reached up and sitting on the over the elephant and is touching the ears. Another person is touching him from the side and is touching the body, abdomen. Another person is holding him from the leg. Another person is holding his tail. So all of them have different idea of what elephant is because they can't see. So what they are telling, this first person who has held the horns, he's telling, oh, maybe elephant, no, he is like an arrow because he has sharp edges. Okay, so he thinks he's an arrow. Another person who has held the trunk, he is thinking that elephant maybe is like a snake because he has a body which is curved. Yeah. Then another person is who is sitting over the elephant. He's touching the ears and he is feeling something sharp again. So he's telling maybe it's like an axe. He has axe type ears. Another person is holding the body and body is very stiff. So he's thinking maybe elephant is like a wall. When it's very stiff, very hard. And another person, like we just talked about, arrow. And this person who is holding the foot, telling maybe elephant is like a tree trunk. Because he's very, when he's holding him, it's very big to hold. It's not coming fully in his hand. Maybe it's like a tree trunk. Another person who is holding the, uh, uh, what do you say, the tail, he thinks that is like a rope. But is that what an elephant is? No. How do you think one can gain complete and perfect knowledge about the elephant? That will answer at the end. So ways of gaining knowledge, there are three. One is direct perception, what in technical terms we say as pratyaksh praman. Pratyaksh praman is I see, I believe. If I don't see, I'll not believe that. So if I have to believe on something, I have to see it with my own eyes, or I have to perceive it with my senses. Then another one is Anuman Praman. What Anuman Praman is telling? Whatever I believe, it should be within the jurisdiction of my speculation or my guesswork or my intelligence. I can think that much, so that much I can believe. So they are little higher than Pratyaksha. They say, okay, I may not be able to see everything, but at least I should be able to mentally imagine that. It's like cosmos. We cannot, everybody has not gone into space. Everybody cannot, but from whatever observations they have, they may say, okay, there are trillions of galaxies. Out of that, Milky Way is one. Out of that, sun and all the earth and all are one. So there are many galaxies like this in the atmosphere. There are many stars like this. They say the trillions of it. That's what is their speculation. So whatever they can perceive or whatever they can think of or speculate, they believe that much. Okay, not more than that. And then comes Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana is hearing from a bona fide authority. So I'll just open it and I want to ask you, which among the three do you think is best? Best way of gaining knowledge. What do you say? You can just type in the chat box A, B, or C, or the name quickly. Just what, as per you, don't worry about right and wrong. As per you, which among these are the best way of gaining knowledge as per you? What do you think? One answer is Shabda. Then anyone else? A, I see, I believe. Okay, one is C, Shabda. Yes, just quickly, whatever you think of. We'll see whichever is better, we'll see all in the presentation. Just to see if everything is right. Pratyaksha, whatever we see as B, Deepak Papola. Okay. Yes, some answers. Can we have some more answers, please? Just to stay awake during the class. Hearing from a bona fide authority. Guesswork, perception. Yes, any other answers? How many of us are here? Okay, fine. But I hope everyone is listening to it, even if you are not answering. But yeah, so let's see which one is better. Okay, all your answers have been logged, and now we'll see. So let's see Pratyaksh Pramana. What happens when we say that direct perception is best? Okay. So can Pratyaksh Pramana give us full knowledge? Let's see. If seeing is believing, then we see that on railway track, both railway tracks are joining each other. Is it correct? No. Sometimes we have images like this, we have mirrors like that, concave mirror, convex mirror. If you have gone to some exhibitions, etc., you'll find these kind of mirrors. And sometimes you look so small, sometimes you look so big. Even in science cities and science exhibitioning places, you will find this kind of mirrors. And sometimes you see distorted images, refraction. You put it, but it changes or it bends. Is seeing believing? You see mirage, you see looming, all this. There is no water, but it looks like there is water. So there are many incidents like this. If you just say that whatever I can see, I believe, then even if these things are in front of you, if we don't have knowledge, the right knowledge, we cannot see things in the right way. You'll all believe me, you'll all agree with me. In our medical science, they say your eyes cannot see what your brain doesn't know. Things may be in front of you, but you don't have knowledge about it, so you may not be able to even see that. Other person can see different things on the same thing. Same patient comes, different people, different doctors see, they see different symptoms in the same patient. Similarly, same kinds of objects, different people see in a different perspective. But if I say I will only believe things if I can perceive it or I see it, see, our perceptions are not complete. We don't have all the knowledge. Before seeing, we need knowledge. Then only we can see things better. And maybe after seeing, we may need more knowledge. That is correct. But before seeing, we need knowledge. So knowledge is better than just seeing and believing. Okay. So we cannot acquire complete knowledge just by our senses. Why? Because senses have limitations. Our eyes cannot see beyond a point. Some 6 meters. After that, it's difficult to read things. Similarly, if something is very near to eye, we can't read properly. Similarly, taste, touch, hearing, everything has defects. So our senses are not perfect. They have defects. Let's see what defects. So we'll see that further. We have everybody. Now these defects are there in every species, every human being also. All of us have imperfect senses. We'll see how. Second thing is we have tendency to be illusioned. So if you have a pen and paper, please note these 4 points that will help us. So initially we discussed 3 types of ways of gaining knowledge. Now we are discussing why only if we go with pratyaksha praman, seeing is believing, how it is not the right best way, because every human being has these 4 defects: imperfect senses, tendency to be illusioned, tendency to commit mistake, to err is human, and then cheating propensities. Everybody of us will have, even cheating propensity, all of us we have. Sometimes it's in very subtle way, sometimes it's in gross way. And if we are not cheating others, sometimes our mind cheats us. You get up in the morning, you have put an alarm because you wanted to get up at that time, but as soon as alarm rang, you put snooze. What are we doing? We're cheating ourselves indirectly. You knew you had to get up at that time, that's why you put alarm. So cheating propensity. So imperfect senses, if you see our eyes, it has a range. First of all, it needs external light to see things, and that too between this range. We can only see this wavelength, 400 to 700 millimicrons in nanometer. Only that much light we can see. We can't see more than violet, ultraviolet, we can't see. That's why if you have seen ultraviolet rays being emitted from some places, they're all violet. But you can only see violet color or whatever is existing at this junction, but you cannot see ultraviolet. Similarly, infrared you can't see. So it has limitations. Similarly, our ears have limitation, 20 to 20,000 hertz. Even a bat can hear better. But we can only hear this much. Beyond and before that, we are deaf. Okay. So if senses have limitations, how can I use them to get the correct knowledge of the world? See, we have to use it. We have 5 knowledge acquiring senses. We have to use it to get knowledge of the world. But the thing is, we should always be cautious that this may not be the perfect knowledge. I should not sit on it and say there is nothing beyond that. I should not be very proud of it that I can perceive only that much and so only this much exists. That is foolishness, because all of us, we have 4 defects. So Nobel laureate was telling that even if we photograph stars, ultimately what we perceive in that photo is also a speculation. Yes. So sometimes, okay, we eat our tongue. Now let's see. It tastes very sweet. Sometimes an orange is very sweet, but if you have a gulab jamun, which is very sweet, over that when you eat orange, what happens? Is it sweet? No. Then it's not sweet. Then it is like khata, sour. Even if it's sweet, if you add sweet before that, it's sour. So our senses, sense of touch is getting fooled. Similarly, all of you would have experienced. How many of you had Vicks anytime? Vicks or Menthos or some lozenges for the throat? How many of you ever had that? Just raise your hand or say yes. How many of you have Vicks anytime or lozenges, any kind of Menthos, Polo? Yes, all of you had one or the other time. Simply raise your hand. Yeah, okay. Everyone had. Okay. So now, how many of you had water over that? Have you ever drank water after taking this? Yes? Yeah. So can you tell me when you drink water over a Vicks or a Polo or any lozenges, how does it feel like? Can you tell me how does it feel like? Cool, yes. But is the water cool really? Have you put it in fridge? No. Why is it very chilled and cool? Because the lozenges does something like that. But water has not become cool. It's the perception which has changed. You have not done anything to water. Water is same. But the perception has changed because of another product which you just had before that. So when our senses can be fooled or changed just by this kind of small product, how can I say that with such senses I can perceive the whole world and even spiritual things, and if I cannot perceive it by that, it's wrong. That's not the right way of giving conclusions because our senses are imperfect. So orange after sugar, orange after lemon. After lemon, if you eat orange, it will be sweeter. Similarly, skin when touched with warm hand appears cool. And similarly, when touched with cold hands appear warm. Now I'll show you some pictures. Please tell me, please type in chat box or unmute and tell me what is this picture? What can you see in this picture? Each picture is depicting two different things. I hope you are able to see the picture. Can you tell me what does this picture is depicting? Yes, yes, please.
A young girl with a towel on her head and looking on the side.
Okay, good. Thank you. Can someone else tell something else about this picture? Ah, another person is seeing a old lady in this. Now, Dhriti Mate, can you see an old lady also in this other than that young girl?
Yes, Prabhu, just now I can.
When someone told now we saw, okay. The same picture is showing two different things. You know what this phenomena is known as? It's known as optical illusion. Now let's go to this picture. What do you see in this picture?
Three circles, like cut in between, and the triangle connected with the triangle.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else? It's a triangle, okay. But is the triangle really there? Or is there the circles which are cut? Good. Okay. Both are correct. Okay, what can you see here? Can you type or unmute and tell me? Anyone? There's no triangle, but it's illusion. Okay, what can you see here?
Two men with a hat. One is having a guitar. There's a lady standing behind, and otherwise, like it's an uncle and auntie.
Okay, very good.
Auntie's earring is having a glass bottle. And if you see otherwise, then the eyes are a hat of the person and he's holding with his hands.
Okay. So musician and old people together. Okay, good. So every picture is depicting two different things. If you see from far away, there is an old lady and old man. If from nearby, there are two different things. So an old lady suddenly becomes young. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead. Just observe it closely. What do you see here?
It's not moving, but it looks like it's moving. The circles are going into each other and then moving out.
Yes. But it's not moving. It cannot. It's fixed. It's just a picture, but it's moving. And you cannot deny, your eyes are seeing it's moving. This is what is our perception. This is what is our eyes. Yes. Okay. What can you see here?
8 flowers.
8 flowers. Okay. What is happening in this picture? Rotating flowers.
It looks
Yes.
like they're also moving.
They're also moving. And can you see that each flower is moving in another direction as another flower as compared to the next one? Some are clockwise, some are anti-clockwise. Can you perceive that? Yes. You may have to get up to perceive it. Okay. Now, can you see this picture? Now, what you have to do is you have to bring whatever your phone or your screen, you have to go near to that and come far from it. Near, far, and see what's happening.
Prabhuji looks like the psychology wheel they use for hypnotizing.
Have we gone mad today? Is this class is to prove us like this, something like this? What do you say? What do you perceive? You can just quickly type in chat box or speak, whatever. When you go near to it or come far from it, what is happening? You just have to focus on the dot in the center. Anyone? Outer circle is rotating. Okay, what about inner circle? It's not rotating. You need to concentrate more on this dot. Of course, I'm not telling you to do meditation now. that we'll have later in some sessions. But concentrating on the dot and seeing what's happening with the circles around. Is it only outer circle which is moving? Anish Hegde, what do you say? What's your view? I hope at least you can see the picture. Or anyone. I am imagining how much mistakes scientists make. But I just want to know your view about this dot. Dhriti Mataji, what do you see?
Yes, Prabhuji, I already, it's like the hypnotizing wheel that keeps rotating, and then strike unending rotation is there, and then you just get
Unending rotation. But can you see rotation in opposite direction? One is
Yes,
in
sir.
one, other one is other.
Anti-clockwise, and the outer one is going clockwise.
But that too, if you come towards it, it's another direction. You go away from it, it's another direction.
Yeah.
So what it's all telling us is that tendency to get illusioned is there in our senses already. It's a part of it. A tendency. Just some small paintings can make us illusioned. Yes. So widely incorrect accounts in research. See, earlier they thought the brain is a organ which is just the function is to cool the blood. And pituitary and master glands were considered vestigial, useless tissue. But these days, if you remove this pituitary, how so many functions of your body will not happen. Similarly, Hubble's constant in chemistry and physics we used to study, sorry, in physics. And it has changed already, the value of it has already changed thrice. So is it a constant or a variable? We don't know. I don't know how many of you know about this Piltdown, whatever, box. But if you know some amount of Darwinism, the Darwin told that we have come, there is always connecting link between the two species. If we have come from apes or animal or monkeys, why is he able to establish that? Because he's thinking there are always some organisms which are like connection between these two species. Like he found a bird by name Archaeopteryx, which is a connection between aquatics and or between the terrestrial animals and the aerial animals, the one who are on the land, one who are in the air. So similarly, he said that there is they found some species which are like apes and humans, the middle one, and later they found out that they never found something like this. It was a fraud. They have filed the jaw of a human skull himself just to show that it's a connection. So let's see, that's what they have done. They have done this with that skeleton which they have got. They have made changes to prove that is missing link. See, Neanderthal man, Perkins man. So filed human jaws and ape skull joint trying to prove evolution of ape man. So they are forgery of evidences. So this is what is Pratyaksh Praman. If we say that Pratyaksh Praman is best, then these are the problems if we try to tell it best. Going with four, these are all defects are there. Tendency to commit mistake always there. We are not perfect beings. Tendency to believe and cheating propensity is always there. Scientists themselves are cheating. So at least we can say Pratyaksh Praman is not the best way of gaining knowledge. It's one way of course, but it cannot be the best way. Then comes Hanuman, theories based on observations. Okay. So this is the book written by the origin of species written by Darwin. By observation, he wants to tell this is what has happened. Darwin, please understand, Darwin was not a biologist. Darwin was not a scientist. Darwin was a philosopher who just went on a journey, voyage to Galapagos Islands. And there he found something, his mind worked and he thought maybe it works like this. Because I'm a firm believer that without speculation, there is no good and original observation. You have to think something in your brains. You have to speculate something. And current research anywhere is just who can speculate better. And their idea is not to do something good with the science. Their idea is how it can be lucrative and how I can earn more money with this research. That's the only idea and basis behind researches. Whereas this cannot be good for people because it is full of selfishness, self-motivation. Such things cannot do good to others. So yesterday we were hearing that there are so many countries who have removed the whole theory of Darwin from their science books. So there's so many, more than 600 scientists came together and gave reasons why Darwinism is wrong. But we are still continuing to read that. In fact, our syllabus is so foolish. I don't know how many of you remember your chemistry, but in our chemistry, we used to read about periodic table, and initially there were some few elements which were discovered, and in that what they used to do, they just put it in one table, and this is Mandeli's periodic table. So in one semester we are reading about that, and then what I found is the next semester we are reading what are the flaws in that. And then the next came, then what are flaws in that, and next came, then the modern periodic table came. When it has flaws, why you want to put the student's brain into those flaws? You just remove it. It didn't work, you remove it. Why we have to read everything which didn't even work? Of course, to some extent we can say when we see things which didn't work, it gives us some more knowledge. But the idea is we don't have that much time to see everything. This work, this they did that, for them they didn't work. Okay, you go next. Not everybody has to do all the research every time to find out. Somebody has done, you take knowledge from them and go ahead and do some better things. Everybody need not get stuck to the same thing. So this is what is current system. We just have to copy what these people have done. Generally, what we study in Indian books is already, there's so many things that are already discarded in abroad. There's so many materials and products which we use in India, which have already been used and discarded in Western world. Because the way we are taught itself has defect. It's not the best way. So we need to understand these facts in order to save time in our life and do things in a right way. So records of rocks, man came from monkeys, from there this many millions. But the very single thing is, they say there is survival of the fittest. Darwin's told survival of the fittest. Or if fittest has to survive, then why all species are still surviving? If we came from apes and we are surviving, apes should extinguish by now. They should get extinct, because they say apes were not able to survive, so they were trying for something better. See, this is what came here. Lamarck told one story before Darwin came. One Lamarck, and he says what? Giraffe. They were all short-headed first initially. The necks were small, but they were not able to find food on the. They had to eat leaves which are there on the trees. So they used to jump and always keep seeing up, and doing that, their neck has become bigger. Alright? If this is what it is, then we should only see long neck giraffe, and only those animals should exist. Then how deer existed? Deer was eating from grass from down. He didn't go up to see. Then how he survived? If for the survival the grass was only on the trees and nothing was on the ground. They're telling there was nothing on the ground at that time, so they had to eat from the trees, the leaves. So then how deer is still surviving and eating from the ground? So there's so many reasons. But he just tried to show evolution of the body. But please understand what scriptures also says, the Vedas also talk about evolution. But it's not the body which differentiates us from an animal. What is really evolving is the consciousness. Is the consciousness which is really going through this phase of changing the body. I mean, changing and evolving. We have to be better than animal on the level of consciousness, not just some body, because there's some animals which can do better things than a human being. A bat can hear more noises. A dog can hear better than a human. That's why dogs are used. They can smell better. A bat can hear better. Ultrasound you can hear. There's so many insects who can stay in fire. There's so many insects who can stay in water. There are animals who can stay both in water and earth. We cannot do it. And even to come for enjoyment, animals, they can enjoy more. They can create more offsprings. A dog, a pig give birth to 7, 8, 10 offsprings at a time. Humans cannot do that. So many things they're better than us. We are better in consciousness. Dharmo hi eko adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pasubhi samana. Ahar nidya bhaya vaithunam cha samanyam eka pasubhinaram. The Vedas say these normal activities, eating, sleeping, recreating and procreation, they're all same. Animals are also doing day night. We are better because we are evolving consciousness. We can think better, we can think intelligently. Animals cannot. So there's no, but what is the problem in research? Research itself is not a wrong thing, it's good. The research is evolving, we are getting new things, but the thing is the research is not done with the right intention and with the far-sightedness. We cannot see the after effects of the research which is done today. And nobody looks forward to it also. That's why now before research, everything has to pass through ethical committee. Because anything like that, now they are trying to find out, but still they cannot think far beyond. And that's why our research is ending up into adverse effects. There's so many researches, TV, this, that, gadget, but then they're doing so much harm to body, both mentally and physically. People are on video games, people are on mobile games. The children, they're just ruining their life. Even from a small 4 months, 6 months old child, you give mobile, he sees, he gets attracted because things are moving, changing, so many colors, etc., coming again and again. And at the end, what they develop? Attention deficit disorders. They want things to change so fast, they cannot concentrate on one thing. And when they come to real life, things are so slow for them. And it's not happening the way they want. In mobile, in games, they can do anything, they can control, but in real life they cannot. So they cannot take it in their life when they cannot control people. So they get into depression. Small kids go and commit suicides because they see all these games in TV and mobiles, video games. They develop attention deficits, they develop autism. They're all related to these things. If you don't show mobile to a 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old child, they don't eat. They see mobile and mother is feeding. This is what is happening these days. And because parents don't have time, they also want to put their children, okay, you eat, somehow you eat, you don't cry, I have to do my office work, so you better take this mobile. And it is 1-2-year-old kid knows all the function, even I may not know these many functions of mobile. And then they eat, do binge eating, sitting, no physical activity, obesity, hearing damage. They hear it such a high voice on mobile. So all this hearing problem and vision and sleeplessness, relationship is not there. There's no building of relationship because they have no experience of dealing with real life, real people. So there's another blunder which happened. These are all when the researches are with half knowledge. And the idea is not to help somebody, idea is to get money, idea is to get fame. No matter hook or crook it comes, you do. That's what is today's funda. People enters into controversies just to become famous. Very common in film industry these days. Everybody wants to do. They want to become famous by hook or crook. Even for wrong things, let them become famous. So there was one research like this, and this Theranos Labs, they just wanted to become famous overnight, and then they found out with one blood, and we can found out everything. Later they found it was inaccurate. So many people's life got endangered, and fraud of $9 billion came out. Initially, plague, they found that it's because of cats. So they killed the cats. Later they found it's because of rats. So now cats are killed. There is nobody to kill rats naturally. So now the plague became even more. It became an epidemic. It happens in 1900s and even later. So half knowledge is very dangerous. And if we only rely on our senses and only our speculation, we cannot get perfect knowledge. It will be always half. So this is what happens. We try to find one solution, we end up becoming a bigger problem. I generally, give this example of fan. Initially, everything was that you have to make a building which has a right air circulation, and you don't need fans. Later on, they found that people are encroaching land so much that air is less, and then the buildings are very hot, and you need fan. But what fan is doing? It is sending the same air within the room over you. And then this air in the room is very hot. Even if you put fan, only hot air is coming over us. We need something else, again cooler. Okay, you put some water drops in it and it becomes cool. But ultimately, what is there? Earlier coolers were outside, so some cold air will come now. There is no space outside. Coolers have to be kept inside. And because of that, the only inside air is coming over you. Then what? Okay, go next, find AC. So now AC came in, okay, it takes the air inside out and outside and make it cold and bring it. But then they were using some which is chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, which were harming the nature, and ozone got holes inside it. So everything is adding up to when they will find out, okay, we'll not use that, we'll use some other synthetic material that is storing R61, R21, this, that. But things are adding up because there is no far-sightedness, and because everything a human wants to do himself, and he don't want to take help from scriptures. Nature was so good, there was no need of fan. Now even AC is less, and it's creating so much problem. You go to office, it's centrally air conditioner, and you are suffering from cold, cough, and you cannot close it over, it's centrally air conditioned. So people I have seen, they'll come, please give medicine. I said, what is happening? At least we are feeling cold, but we have to sit in AC. And now because of AC, because of Corona is spreading so much within AC, there are so many other diseases which happen because of AC. There's one disease by name Legionella. They found that people who attended one party within centralized AC, everybody found out that it entered into the AC first. And with that, it went into circulation. So one thing is giving bigger problems. Half knowledge is always dangerous. So key to happiness is complete knowledge. Pratyaksh praman. It's dangerous to have half knowledge. So where is the manual that can explain operation of cosmic machine? If we get it, we have the key. So they're telling this is not working. 4 defects are there. Pratyaksha Anuman, again it has defects. Then Shabda Praman. So Shabda Praman is considered best. And we believe it or we don't believe it. We are automatically going towards Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman means hearing from the right authority. Now, if somebody wants to know something about medicine, the best person is not Google, please. The best person is a doctor. But if we go to Google, we go here and there and try to find out, we can never be sure about it. But if we hear it from a doctor and then he may tell us, okay, read here and we read there, it will strengthen our faith. That is Shabda Praman, hearing from a right authority. These days on this COVID, everybody speaks. There's so many fake things on internet right now. We have to hear from the right authority, and that hearing is the best evidence, best way of gaining knowledge. Because it saves so much time. Suppose we say, who is your father? How do you come to know who is your father? Can you tell me in chat box, how do you come to know who is your father? Yes, anyone? Did you do a DNA testing? Did you do blood group testing? How did you come to know who is your father? Yes, anyone? Mother tells, yeah. If you go by experiment, then how many people will you experiment? How many people will you run the testing on? He says, if you want 200 men and do genetic testing on it, you need 800 years. And only 200 people. This is inductive knowledge. Is there any other method? Ask mother. Mother will tell. So Vedas are like mother. God is like father. So Vedas can give GK. GK is not only general knowledge, but also God knowledge. God knowledge. So I'll share some videos link also in the group, so that you can see some more videos which I'm not showing it here. So what is Vedic process of learning? It comes as a parampara. What is in technical terms we tell it as sampradaya. What sampradaya tells, why it is important is because we know. See, why do you go to a university? Why can't you just read books and become a qualified person? No, you need a university, because university gives a stamp. It makes it authorized. Similarly, sometimes we say for God, any process is fine. Any raha, koi bhi raha chalegi, everything goes to Rome. All roads leads to Rome. No, anybody cannot. Any idol is not God. Any path is not leading there. If we are, see, to enter a college, if you want to enter a college, you put so much inquiry about it. You sometimes go to that place and see whether what they are telling is really true or not. Sometimes you read, you see the rankings, you see, you talk to people who are studying there and take inputs from them. Then you decide to enter a college. But when it comes to spiritual knowledge, any saffron clad person is enough. No, anybody is not enough. It has to be authorized. And Vedas says, what authorization is there? Okay, this will take later. See, first of all, why do we believe in scriptures? Because they give such nice predictions. If you see Gautam Buddha's in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, 24th verse, about Chanakya is given, about Ashoka is given. Then Jesus Christ is given as scriptures, Bhavishya Puran, and Prophet Muhammad, about Prophet Muhammad is given in Bhavishya Puran. Prophet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given in Mahabharata and even Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are all undefeatable Vedic predictions. It has happened. We are seeing it these days. So even this, this Tulsi Gabbard, I'll share these video links in the group. You can always see it later on. But everybody is recognizing that these are all things which are given in scriptures, and they are all perfect. They have no defect, because the person who has compiled them is not suffering from these defects. So this knowledge does not have those defects. So this is what I was telling. When you go to a college, you see whether it's authorized or not. There are national bodies to do it. AICT is for engineering and MCI is for medical, etc. Everything is national body to recognize, and UGC recognize universities. So similarly, there are four main sampradayas which are coming from Vedic scriptures and considered recognized. Any spiritual process we follow, we should check whether they are coming under these four or not. Sri Sampradaya starts from Lakshmi Devi and Ramanujacharya was the main person. If you go to Tirupati, if you go to Srirangam, they are all managed by Sri Sampradaya. If you go to Melkote, they are all places of Sri Sampradaya. Then Brahma gave it to Madhvacharya. So Udupi comes under this, and even we come under this. So this is all what knowledge you are getting from whichever scripture is coming under the Brahma Sampradaya. It started from Brahmaji, gave it to Narada, then Vyasdev, then Madhvacharya, like that. There's so many lineages. And current generation which is going is 32nd, 33rd generation. And there's a Rudra Sampradaya which is run by Vishnu Swami. And this Kumar Sampradaya which started from 4 Kumaras, Ashwini Kumaras. Not Ashwini Kumar, 4 other Kumaras. And it is the famous Acharya was Nimbarka Swami. So any path coming under this is considered as authorized. So Vedic wisdom came in disciplic succession. That's why we say that it is authorized, and it is because it is coming under that parampara sampradaya, and that gives it authorization. And the knowledge which comes from there is the best way of gaining knowledge. Vedic wisdom come down disciplic succession. Yes. 5000 Vyasdev reincarnation recorded all the Vedas for people in the age of Kali. So I'll just skip this thing and come back. So teachings are authoritative, pure and safe because it is coming from the Sampradaya. So we read the story, 6 blind men, 1 wise man. So what, let's complete this. What wise man can see? He can see a complete elephant. There's no need to speculate. He can see it fully because he get knowledge now. Otherwise, we'll completely speculate and find out. And if you see another person in front, he'll be laughing on us. The summary is we understood 3 ways of gaining knowledge. Pratyaksha, Anuman, Shabda. Pratyaksha has 4 defects, and that's why it is not perfect. Anuman has disaster, mistakes in science, and half knowledge, and then Shabda Pramana is considered best. It's a deductive knowledge. It's a descending process. It's not that we learn and then give up. No, it is coming in parampara and we are imbibing it. That's the best way. So Vedic truths and predictions we saw is already there in scriptures. The 4 sampradayas and branches of Vedas. So this is what I wanted to do. This is a kind of mind map. Of course, it's small, but this is what we have read today. So this is the best way of gaining knowledge. At least we should think what we are doing, is it right? And then try to do the best thing as long as possible. So thank you very much for joining today. Anyone has any questions, comments, doubts, you are free to ask. Okay, no doubts, no questions. So please understand, these are simple facts. Just don't believe something or don't ignore something. I don't believe. Everything has to have a right instrument to look towards. You cannot measure everything from the same instrument. You will be considered mad if you do it. If you try to see a microorganism, you need a microscope. But if you try to see from your lens, everything I want to see from here, or if you try to use a microscope to measure a length of something, it's a different domain. You need a different instrument to do it. Everything needs like that. Then why, when it comes to truths of life, we need same instrument to check everything. I cannot see God, I don't believe. Arre, your eyes are perfect, you can't see things behind you. I can't see what is there behind this wall. You want to see God? Is he so cheap he'll come in front of you like this? That's not God. You should have qualification, you should have eyes to see that. You should have knowledge again. If your knowledge is not there, what will you see? Even if God comes in front of you, you will not. People were there in Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, we hear all that pastimes. People were there, Lord was there in front of them, they could not identify. And it's not enough. These so many demons, this Duryodhana and Ravana, they also had idea he is God, but they could not perceive it. They could not digest it. They still thought he is not. So it's not just I see, I believe. No, you need to have conviction, you need to have right knowledge to understand. And that comes from Guru, that comes from scriptures. They are the right source. Every book in this world you will see keep changing. You will have a different edition today, tomorrow. Why there is different edition? Because there are some changes coming in, there's some new researches in. That means the previous one was not perfect. You are evolving every day. But if you have you seen Bhagavad Gita 10th edition, 15th edition, 20th edition? No. Same knowledge from 50 years, 500, 5,000 years we are living. These are all showing the authenticity of that. Why we should run behind some temporary things just on the name of okay, this is the curriculum and this is what I have to fit in. Okay, you fit in, but don't block your thinking power just because of that curriculum. We should question: is it right? Is this way of gaining knowledge right? And you will also see now there are politics behind putting syllabus in schools. So all with some selfish motive. I want to put this, then government changes, syllabus changes. Alright? These are foolish things. That's why scriptures are best. We should always try to gain knowledge from the right source. So this is what I had to tell today. Tomorrow again we'll have a class and we'll have next session on this. So stay tuned. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If not now in the group, we're always ready to answer you anytime. And nice meeting all of you again today. And I'm happy you all were participating in few things. It gives us encouragement. So hope to see you again